Welcome back to the F1 2018 career mode here, guys, and you joined me for the Season 3 Russian Grand Prix. We're off the back of a disappointing time out in Singapore where we had to call an early retirement, but nonetheless, we're back on track with a track that I actually happen to quite enjoy, and I'm really hoping to be able to get a solid result. Now, I've bought in a couple of upgrades, just a couple of minor ones, front and rear downforce upgrades to the car, because in Russia it's all about keeping the momentum up between corners. There's not really, until the final sector, a lot of slow speed corners, so it's about carrying the speed through one corner to enable you to take the next one faster. And obviously to do that, more downforce is good. And unlike Season 2, it's going to be nice and bright and lovely during the race, not the absolute monsoon we had last season. So it's not looking too bad for us. Now, obviously, like I've said, I said it in the previous part, we're just trying to just keep outscoring Esteban Ocon and assist Valtteri Bottas where we can. Obviously, we don't want to help him too much because then he's going to become a threat to our championship, and we want to avoid this. I want to get this wrapped up sooner rather than later, but, you know, is what it is. When we come and actually look at the development of the car, where I obviously mentioned before that we bought a couple of upgrades, unlike Singapore, where pretty much everyone bought an upgrade, we are the only team to bring an upgrade to Russia, and it's a couple of upgrades, like I said, so we should be looking pretty strong. I am hoping for another good result in this Grand Prix to carry on and continue that momentum, because we are down to the final 6 rounds of the championship. It's getting near crunch time, so we really need it to make a lasting impact. And of course, as mentioned before, Perez, Ricciardo, and someone else, I forget, doesn't matter, are very close to each other in the championship. Top quality commentary, I don't care. Let's get in to qualifying.
Welcome back to Sochi. We're about to be joining the action down in the pit lane as the cars get ready to embark on their qualifying runs.
So here we go, fastest lap in qualifying. This was my second attempt at giving it a go. First attempt got me provisional P2 behind teammate Valtteri Bottas, and I knew I could do better. Like I said, it's all about keeping that momentum. Now Verstappen coming out the pits, I'm hoping he eases off. He doesn't interrupt us into turn 1, take a big old lump of curb, try and straighten it on the exit if you can, and then you're just completely flat through the 180 degree left-hander, and then it's about lining yourself up perfectly to try and just swing it through this right-hander, keep the momentum up. Sorokin should move out the way, he does, and we come across the first sector split where actually we've taken that much better than Valtteri Bottas, half a second up. Now that is my strongest sector, so it's then all about carrying the speed through. So we try through the middle sector, through the right-hander, then this double left. You can see all the shallow corners, keep the momentum up and the speed before this 90-degree right-hander onto the back straight. We go out a bit wide, compromises our traction a little bit. DRS open though, as we now charge down towards the second sector. We are just over 3.5 tenths up on our delta. Where are we going to be in comparison to Bottas? We're still 2 tenths up on him though, and then through the chicane, carry the speed where you can. This is an important traction zone, as then we then come up to a chicane which is very, very odd in its pattern. You really need to attack the curb, because if you don't, you just fall away wide. I've cost myself traction out of the second part of that, got too close to the wall, and then 2 90-degree right-handers to close it out. We need a good exit. It's a 3, 4, 5 tenths improvement, 6 tenths improvement. It's across the line, but it's not quicker than Bottas. I gave it everything on that lap, and apparently, aside from a few little mistakes which were caused by pushing, weren't enough. Let's get into the race.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk briefly about Sergio Perez. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and the captain completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Ocon, Nico Hülkenberg, and Ricciardo, Sainz, Vettel, Raikkonen, and Max Verstappen. Stroll, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, and Alonso, Grosjean, Magnussen, Sergei Sirotkin, and Marcus Ericsson. Van Dorn and Brendan Hartley rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Indeed, it is time to head down to the track, and we're looking at Russia, which is quite a smooth track, not very hard on tyres, you can see there. The fact it will get hypers comfortably to 10 laps says all it needs to about the track. Simple one-stop hypers through to ultras, and it's going to be all about building the gap in the opening stint and just making sure we're comfortable, because realistically we need to get past Bottas. I can't risk him running down the road, because Bottas is a bit known as a bit of a Russia specialty. So we'll see. We just need to get past him into turn one. Here's the setup that I've been running. Bit more on the front end. Earlier in the season I was putting more on the rear, but need more on the front end to get the nose turned in. My transmission's always the same, my suspension's a lot of it's all the same really. The only things I really tend to change are the aero on the cards with the wings. Everything else pretty much base level. Don't really change anything. Why fix or why change something that's working, you know, essentially. Why fix something that ain't broke, as it were. But here we go. Into the Russian Grand Prix. Can we come away with maximum points after this disappointment at Singapore? We shall see with the lights as they build. 5 are on for the Russian Grand Prix. Lights are out and away we go. Initially respond better than Bottas, but he launches away from P1, and both Force Indias have had a fantastic start. Ocon and Perez completely swamped me, and Ocon's going to be challenging for the lead into turn one. Can he get it? Late on the brakes. Can Bottas hold it round the outside? We've made wheel-to-wheel contact with Perez, repassed the Mexican, and Ocon's trying to go all the way around the outside of Valtteri Bottas. Can he make the move stick into the stadium complex? He does, but he goes deep. Bottas tries to get on the power. Ocon pulls in front of him though. The Force India leads, and Bottas leaves himself open to me into turn 5. Can we make the move stick? Yes, we can. Down the inside of our teammate, but Ocon started second row of the grid, leads. We've overtaken Bottas, like I said, and Bottas has fallen down to 4th place. Incredible stuff, but Ocon setting the pace. First man into the 31s, and now DRS is enabled. We're going to be susceptible to attack from one Sergio Perez. Maybe not this time around, but definitely next time. He does try and have a go, and no, DRS is open there, so he does try and have a go into turn 1. We both run deep, but we keep the position, and this is going to be our main attacking zone and our main defence zone. Bottas has fallen off. We set the fastest lap of the race on the 31.9 as we go on to lap 4, and Bottas has fallen back a little bit. Not too sure what happened with him. Don't know if he maybe had some contact with Perez, but he doesn't appear to have the pace early on. Both Force Indias looking very strong, and as well myself trying to fly the flag. But here we go. We're now on the back straight with DRS wide open. High and overtake mode in the slipstream of Esteban Ocon. We're going to come from a long way back. Can we try and have a go into the chicane? Initially thought about it, but it did show promise as a place where we can potentially make a move on him. I go wide on exit there, but that goes to show where Ocon is susceptible. We've got more speed than the Force India through the middle sector. We just need to get the best run possible out of this corner to have a go at him into the chicane. So here we go. The top 3 all in one camera shot. Nice and easy. DRS open for both myself and Sergio Perez. We charge down towards the chicane. Can we make the move on Esteban Ocon? We pull it out wide. I think about it once again, but we can't make the move just at this moment, but we're shaping him up. And now we're near the end of the lap. Ocon really falling off the pace. You can just see how the gap is closed between us. I've cost myself time on the exit though, due to him closing up. And now we're in the path of one Sergio Perez. Is he going to try and make the move on us into turn 1? Ocon pulls across. We pull to the left-hand side. We go round the Force India. We've outbraked ourselves, gone horribly wide though. I can't hold the position. I got out the throttle to let them through, and I've let them both through. So Ocon back into the lead, Perez up into second, and we're down to third due to me outbraking myself into turn 1. So what I thought was going to be a move for the lead turns out to have cost me. So we need to get back on it, get our head straight, and retake a position that we shouldn't have lost. So here we go, back straight once again. Perez at the moment is looking very punchy as he pulls up beyond Ocon, and it looks like he's going to comfortably make a move where we were taking a look at him. Ocon's going to try and hold it around the outside. Can we do anything against the scrapping Force Indias? I pulled to the inside. Ocon was slow. We tapped the back of him, but we were able to successfully duck our way down the inside of the Frenchman. His rear tyres appear to be completely shot. He might have pushed too hard to begin with. So Perez has now moved in a couple of laps from P3 to P1, and we have moved back up into P2. So now we're still chasing a Force India for the lead, but it's now Sergio Perez, and thankfully that means Esteban Ocon, our main championship rival, is behind me, and that means we're going to outscore him. But for how long? Is he going to try and make a move into turn 1? He's definitely there. I initially give him room, but the door closes as we get to the corner, and Bottas appears to have at least got his head straight and back in the game as he's starting to close in on us as a leading group. I've lost time to Perez over this lap, but we're coming into the pits at the end of lap 10. Both Force Indias carry on. Now that could be a mistake because these hypers are starting to fall off, and I get the feeling fresh ultras are going to be the ticket here. Bottas carries on, of course, because I'm in. One of the Ferraris appears to be pulling into the pit lane by the looks of things. Not too sure which Ferrari it is. It is the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. And yeah, realistically, these ultras should be more consistent for longer. The hypers definitely fell off from about lap 8 onwards. So hopefully we can avoid coming out in traffic. That would be best case scenario. Can we get up to speed before Charles Leclerc come past? I think we might be alright. So we fed out comfortably into a nice gap. And that gap is behind Stroll and one of the Red Bulls. But that being said, they have to make a pit stop. And that pit stop will be coming soon, especially if they are on the Hypersoft tyre. But you can see now we are closing up to the back of Lance Stroll, our old teammate for the first 8 races of Season 1. And just look how much superior this car is. Teammate in the pits, Bottas in. One of the Force Indias has to go round again. They are going to be on completely shot Hypersoft tyres as we drive round the outside of Lance Stroll. I hope he's pitting, because otherwise I'm going to cut across him into the final, or to the penultimate corner. He does come in. Loads of cars are in the pits. Here we go. Now we're on the main straight. We passed Bottas. There is a Force India coming out of the pits. It is Sergio Perez. He was the race leader before the pits, and he comes out just ever so slightly ahead of me. Would we have been ahead of him if we weren't battling Lance Stroll? Who knows? We've got the run on him though. Out of turn 2 through turn 3. Can we carry the slipstream? And can we make a move on Perez for provisional lead of the Grand Prix? We go very late on the brakes. Nearly hit the back of the Force India, but still in his slipstream as we close up to Verstappen. Can we make a dive into turn 5? Unfortunately not. Perez jinked across and shut the door. So now what we have to wait on is Perez to start battling with Max Verstappen. Hopefully Verstappen will slow Perez down and we're able to make a cheeky little overtake on the Mexican. We could just see how we're closing up through the middle sector. Perez put himself on a compromising line, parked it on the apex of the previous corner, and that's cost me from getting on the power. And now Perez, of course, in the slipstream. That we've both got that mighty Mercedes engine in the back of our car. Perez gets through on Verstappen before the chicane, and unfortunately we are going to get stuck behind the Red Bull for a couple of corners. Can I get on the power better than Verstappen, and can we pass him into the chicane? Answer is yes, but it cost me a bit of momentum and time, and we're not going to be in the best position to try and attack Perez at the start of lap 13 like I wanted to be. Anyway, Ocon in, one of the Renaults in. How much further ahead of Ocon are we going to be as he had to do those extra couple of laps on the Hypersoft tyre? This is what we're going to see now coming down the straight. There is Ocon coming out the pits. Here is me with DRS and all the toys available in the slipstream of Sergio Perez. Can we try and make a move on the Mexican? We close up into turn 1, but unfortunately we're just not able to get close enough. But can we try and utilise our speed through the first sector, use that momentum I've been talking about? I'm pretty much flat out of VRS at this point. I'm going to need to start saving it, because right now we're going to run out of battery and we're going to be susceptible to attack from the cars behind. We've got a decent gap, myself and Perez now, to Ocon and Bottas, but even then we need to try and get past Sergio Perez and try and obtain maximum points for this Grand Prix. It's a straight fight. Perez makes a mistake, goes wide. Didn't see that coming, and thankfully we pressured him into that mistake, back into the lead. Literally, as I was talking about trying to obtain the race lead away from Sergio Perez, put ourselves in a position for maximum points, we were able to make it stick. But Perez, look at the speed he's able to come back at us with on the back straight. We're going to go very late on the brakes. Easy, cheeky, bunky. Perez needs to keep the door open because both of us were steaming in there at quite a lot of speed. This is the start of the next lap, and this is Valtteri Bottas attacking Esteban Ocon, who parks it and goes very deep on turn 1 apex. Bottas fights his way round the outside and is able to get himself ahead of Ocon. Unfortunately, by a couple of laps later, Ocon remade the move, and Perez dropped off at this stage of the Grand Prix. I don't really know what it was. It's one of those things with Perez. He's had such an up and down season. I don't know if he's potentially had some issues, but this is later on to lap 17. This is Esteban Ocon now passing his teammate up into second place, and of course that's going to make Perez susceptible to my teammate Valtteri Bottas for P3. And come lap 19, that is exactly what's happened. Perez is slowed to a crawl. He must have some kind of mechanical issue. But we now move on to lap 20. We've saved up a nice bit of ERS. We're saving a bit of fuel as well. At this point, I was just looking after the car because, of course, I do have some component concerns, especially after Singapore. It did allow Esteban Ocon to close in, unfortunately. We were in the 32s. Ocon now, come lap 22, he's now well and truly within DRS range, and I'm more than likely going to be attacking me at the end of this straight. So we turn the car up just a little bit. Ocon tries to have a go. We force him to go the long way round. We take the inside corner. Nice and easy defence. And he's actually slowed his momentum out of turn 1 due to the line he took. And hopefully what I'm going to try and do, I'm thinking about this tactically, trying as many points over Ocon as I can. So I turned the car back down to medium and just slowed down where I needed to slow down and push Ocon back into Bottas. Now I know these were tactics that people hated Mercedes for back in their dominance, especially Hamilton in 2016 Abu Dhabi, but you know, it's all about a team sport in the end. Break the slipstream for Ocon to try, and he's not able to once again then attack me into turn 1. But yeah, just push him back slowly into the path of Valtteri Bottas and see if my teammate is able to make a move on him, and then we can get a lovely jubbly Mercedes 1-2. Ocon tries to go around the outside. We just keep the inside line, stop his momentum, albeit he's in our slipstream up towards turn 5. Can he make a move there? Answer, not quite. We just push him ever so slightly out of road. Just teasing him at this point, really. Just trying to have a little bit of fun defending the lead. I could have turned the car up if I wanted to, but like I say, I really wanted that Mercedes 1-2 for myself and Bottas. But here we go, back straight. Esteban Ocon, slipstream, DRS, all the toys available, and he's going to try and go around the outside of me. That will switch to the inside of the next corner, and do you know what? Esteban Ocon nearly pulls it off, but we were able to just undercut underneath him on the traction zone. And that was actually one of my favourite passes I made in the Grand Prix to retake the position. It was just the way his Force India went out wide, and we were able to latch onto it and underneath him there. Anyway, this is the start of the next lap. This is Ocon and Bottas going at it, and Bottas has to get out of the throttle due to Ocon chopping across him through that 180-degree left-hander. And we now move on. We've only got 3 laps remaining in this Grand Prix, including the one we're on. I could start burning a little bit of fuel here, and I need to, as Ocon once again is going to try and pass me round the outside of turn 1, but we can just keep the car nice and composed, nice and still. And we're running out of laps here. If I could get onto the team about maybe, you know, getting Bottas to maybe try a little bit harder, because I don't want to run Ocon out of road. I don't want to, you know, destroy his car in any way. Speaking of destroying his car, I've made a mistake, and that's actually cost me now. We went wide in the 180-degree corner, and that's what that has meant, is we ran wide then through turn 4. We've made a mistake. Ocon's in the lead. Bottas got past me temporarily, but we are down to P2, and we're now at a point where Ocon is going to score more points than me. So that's the exact opposite of what we want, because I can't have Ocon eating 7 points into my championship lead. So now we've got to re-overtake the Force India driver. So here we go. We've got to line ourselves up, turn everything back up. Good thing I harvested some energy and saved some fuel. So back in the slipstream of Esteban Ocon on this back straight, similar to the early parts of the Grand Prix. He goes defensive. I'm going to squeeze between the Pink Panther and the wall. Can we make the move all the way around the outside? A little bit off track. Not quite able to make the move stick. And now we need to close up on him to try and then have a go into turn 1. And this was panic situation. Now I've had this race under control for the past 10-15 laps, and now all of a sudden, due to a very simple mistake I made by realistically not pushing has cost me the potential win. So we move on lap 26, the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, and we just need to pressure Ocon the same way we pressured Sergio Perez. That's what we've done. He went very tight on the line. He defended some fresh air. That cost him on the exit, and we're able to bolt our way through, and on the penultimate lap, back up into the lead of the Russian Grand Prix. And now lap 27, we're on the final back straight. Bottas coming through. He's got his way past Esteban Ocon. He actually passes me for the lead of the Russian Grand Prix. Ocon tries to have a go. We have a quick look at Bottas, and Bottas is going to try and steal it. Ocon tries to go down the inside of one of the final corners, not able to make it stick. And on the final lap of the Grand Prix, it looks like Valtteri Bottas is going to steal the race win. I can't be too disappointed with that. He's only led one lap this race, and realistically it was the most important one. It was the last one. Bottas wins, we get second.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
And now it's time to wind down and celebrate after that fantastic Grand Prix. Here they come, your top three, out onto the podium.
So there we have the results of the Russian Grand Prix. Sneaky, clappy, chappy, Valtteri Bottas stole the race win on the final lap. I know I said I'd try and support him, but that was quite the move there, Valtteri. Quite the move. It showed some intent behind it. And am I now going to have to be concerned and worry about Bottas's challenge for my championship in the remaining races? We get, of course, second place. We outscore Esteban Ocon, which, as I said, I wanted to do. It was only 3 points instead of the 10 that I was aiming for. Daniel Ricciardo gets a nice return to form for P4. Sergio Perez in the end fell down to P5. Not too sure what his issues were. But you can see the Force Indias and the Mercedes, the only cars in the 31s, and quite comfortably. So Nico Hülkenberg gets a solid result from Renault in P6. However, he did drop a place off the start thanks to Ricciardo gaining a couple. Vettel for Ferrari, P7. They really just have not been at the races. So it's unfortunate for them this year. Hopefully they will see a return to form next year, albeit we won't see that on this game because we've got F1 2019 to worry about. Carlos Sainz gets P8 for Renault. Not too bad, not too great. You know, you'd expect with some of the guys them to be better. Max Verstappen gets more points as well, P9. And Charles Leclerc, a really good drive there, considering they allegedly have the worst car on the grid, from P12, which was impressive in its own right, to points. Now onto the driver's side of things. We are 48 points, of course, clear of Esteban Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas jumps Sergio Perez there to 198 points. Perez and Ricciardo now tied on 184 points, so they're still battling. The three drivers, of course, the third driver in the mix, for tied on points or being quite close on points, as I said at the start of the video, was Valtteri Bottas. Constructors-wise, Mercedes have a 62-point lead over Force India. I don't really see too many other cars shuffling and chopping and changing positions realistically over the rest of this season. But let's chat with Claire about the race.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. Everything went your way today. It looked like you had a really good strategy for the race.
Everything went my way except the last lap, but I can't complain too loudly. It's a fantastic result for the team, and being on the podium is always nice.
Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash?
Friendly bumps, friendly scrapes, all it was. Don't worry about it.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So I just wanted to fill you guys in on the contract we got offered. Due to the result in Singapore, Mercedes kind of soured on us a little bit, even though we're leading the championship. So I've had to downgrade the pit stop efficiency down to level 1. I couldn't go with the regular level 2 that I would have for every race. But that's really the only real change I made there. And that has been the race at the Russian Grand Prix. So could we be seeing a title contention with one Valtteri Bottas? He's going to need to get more points than me in every race for the rest of this season. He's pretty much going to need to win every race and me finish third. Possible, but who knows? Of course, Esteban Ocon, he showed some fight in Russia, but is it a wake-up call that we might need to bring some final upgrades to the car? If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you want to be kept up to date with the content that comes to the channel, subscribe and enable them notifications, click that bell and all the fun stuff that YouTube requires you to do these days, because algorithms are fun. Insert smiley face, thumbs up emoji, whatever. Next time out, we have the Japanese Grand Prix, which is one of my favourite tracks on the game's calendar since they remodeled it for 2017. It just flows really nicely, so that'll be a fun one. Then we move on to the American part of the season, where we go to Kota in Texas, and then of course we go on to Mexico, and then of course we have Brazil and Abu Dhabi, the final race of the season. So you can strap in and be prepared for those videos over the next couple of days, because I am pumping these out before F1 2019, because I need to get it done. And yeah, sick of playing Formula 1 at this point, but no, it's fun. I'm still finding it fun, and I'm hoping to have a small break, a tiny break, before the new game. Anyway, I'll see you all next time.